All right, we are live. All right, cool. All righty, so let's go ahead and go over a couple of different things. I kind of want to take a peek. I haven't been on the looking at the charts since we got off earlier. I've seen a couple things, but it looks like PayPal kind of shit the bed there during their guidance 4 hour. Yeah, Roblox. All right, that's cool. I can live with that. $98. I would have liked to stay in that you know 105 range. That would have been nice, but we'll take it. How many of you guys played earnings today or whatever? You're happy about PayPal? Honestly, that would have been a both ways type setup. That's why I have learned my lesson, and as long as if you go and study, the way that it moves, how long has it been staying in range? Has it fallen into earnings? Can it fall more? Like, you have to think of like the implied move, when it comes to earnings stuff. And at the end of the day, it's all a gamble. But you can only be as calculated as you, and that's one of the reasons why I don't outwardly signal these things, is because Roblox could have opened flat. It could have opened right here, and both my puts and my calls would have likely been red after 2 seconds after the bell. Um, all right, I didn't know I could do that. That's neat. PayPal was a dangerous EA supported scam, either breaks down, but yeah, yes. That's not one that I really wanted to take a gamble on. Roblox, though, is a newer company, right? It's still a lot of excitement, still a lot of retail buyers. Uh, there's actually, really big buyers on both sides. So, metaverse play, so these are things that you call the NYSE. That makes sense. Yeah, PayPal 250. Uh, he's telling you to go to the confession booth. All right. So, oh no. So anyway, besides that, just really quickly, we'll go over. Oh, 1 second. Why is my screen taking forever to load? There we go. All right, so we're just gonna go over the major indexes and all that good stuff. So S&P, as you guys saw today, like we talked about, my thoughts on that were that this morning that we likely stayed in range. We did, but that one was technically up here 0.09%. The Nasdaq up 0.07%. The Russell had a little bit of a better. I don't know why I do that every time I run or IW. I always if I read the headline, it says Russell, I type in Russell. But Russell was up 0.23%. The Dow was up 0.29%. So both of those moving up today. We saw AMD absolutely rocketing after like every news headline released at once. That was Lisa Su up there pulling a ton of different strings to get this stock to the moon. Hopefully, my friend who bought it $11 is watching right now. But this one moved up and is resting at 150. So definitely a stock to watch. As we speak, I'm going to set an alert hitting a high of 153. So pretty crazy on that one. We also saw Mara due to Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin moving into the 67K range. Mara following after. I don't like this big old gap up here. It looks like it's inevitably going to get filled. And we also saw Riot move up today. Chrome, I don't know if anybody noticed this one today, was up around 25%. And these are pot stocks that got lit because of the Republican-led measure to legalize marijuana in the United States. A Republican-led measure. I said that out loud, and that's a real headline. Hold on one second. Ripperoni pizza. Sorry, I'm moving the moving it over, which is kind of unfortunate because, and I did share my opinion on Twitter, but the VA is not going to approve marijuana for veteran or even marijuana research. That's disappointing. But other than that, that's why we saw movement from Tilray, CGC, and Crone today. Roblox up 30% in after hours, traded above the $100 mark. And I think the crypto BATX, BETX, I don't know. I've never traded this one, but apparently this one ripped today. It's on the top headlines as one of the top movers there. So, alrighty. So just a real quick update on the watch list. So of course, Roblox, we're going to see if we can't, I'm going to look at the after hours moves. So looking at the after hours moves, look like we're flagging here nicely. Hourly time frame. We're going to see where our indicators open up, 9-day moving average, all that good stuff. But normally if we do, and I'm expecting obviously to have a gap on Roblox, but we're going to determine whether we can pull off, an upstart type move, a gap and go, potentially on Roblox moving into the. I have a target with continued momentum of around $120. So there's a potential for going long on this one, depending on the price action that we see going and forward in the next couple of days. So. But anyway, that one's obviously to be determined. There's not much use going over Roblox at the moment, mostly due to the fact that it's going to open up at a completely different price, and we're going to have to do a completely different analysis. Yeah, this was the VA. I just saw your comment. But yeah, this was one of the stocks that I targeted today, and had kind of pulled off that move that I was looking for. Stocks that, just to kind of read off a list of, stocks that move like that. Overstock, right? Overstock can move on earnings really, really big. We've already seen that before. Affirm, obviously one of those big movers. Baidu used to be a big mover on earnings. Baba as well. Those smaller cap stocks, Plug Power. Also, if you guys were not on live, and I should cover this now because Plug Power obviously is going to be on my watch list. We saw 3 or 4 consecutive block trades on Plug Power, sitting at the most recent high point of control. So we're sitting there really flat on top of that point of control, looking for a potential pop up into at least a new 52-week high on Plug Power going into earnings. Now, earnings, that's where you guys have to manage your own risk. If you guys are planning on playing earnings on this one, but there was a huge, and I posted it in the chat, a huge amount of block trades placed here, right here at that point of control, which only makes me feel that there could be some potential upside. SQ. Now, SQ popped in after hours, and looking out on the daily, one of the things that I was explaining today is that I liked that we had that green doji. It has since finished with a new low or a lower low from the Friday's close. It's still a potential reversal candle. So looking at Square tomorrow, we're going to see how PayPal moves. PayPal is at a place in which it can bounce. So Square, or excuse me, not PayPal. Just completely forgot. They just started. What was it? PayPal? Was it PayPal? I don't know why my brain just. Yeah, it was PayPal. Sorry, my brain just went to Visa and then I threw myself off. So, depending on how big of a rebound we see from PayPal, could influence Square to the upside. Now, if you guys have been with us for a while, I think one of the things that I've covered before is a standard deviation or a deviation channel within a pattern. And oftentimes, you know, when you have a channel, you can split the channel in half. But SQ is in this consolidation pattern with the point of control splitting it directly in half, right? So one of the things that I look for is a break above. It doesn't matter if it is the point of control, because in this case, it just happens to be the point of control, which backs up my theory and my thought that if Square can get a bounce, and we'll probably use this today's wick as a potential entry, and that's going to be around 241.50, at least for that next leg up. And if anything, we would be going to retest our moving averages, which are just now climbing into that middle ground. So looking for a bounce off support, a 200 at EMA, and just to retest the same level that we broke. So the Square is still on my watch list, a stubborn piece of crap, but we'll see what we can get out of it. Really quickly, just to go over tomorrow's earnings, so that way we don't forget. And I'm going to go ahead and start taking you guys this request. But going into Tuesday, not nearly as exciting today, but we do have some potential bangers. Workforce, Neo, which we know where Neo's at in the grand scheme of things on the chart, but hopefully they crush earnings and see a big move from there. PLTR, I think that's going to be an exciting earnings. Fubo, Coin, Aurora Cannabis, obviously OCGN is always popular. I'm not much of a OCGN investor, but Kodak. Oh Lord. Candy actually is one of interest potentially, sitting around $5 there. Unity Software can move. Upstart can move. These are all ones that I've seen. You could even see some movement from Blue Apron. DoorDash has earnings as well. So these are all stocks that can definitely see some big moves here on earnings, but not nearly as exciting. And then Wednesday, we're going to move into things like Beyond Meat, Disney, Wish, which Wish, I'm telling y'all, something's going to happen. I don't know what it is. They could, and I'm not saying they did just crush earnings, but maybe this, I'm curious with that, all of the sentiment, it's going to bring the attention back to Wish. And who knows, maybe we see a little pop squeeze on that one. Sophie will be interesting, be it Boxlight. So, but anyway, other than that, economic calendar for tomorrow is also, we're looking at, is that November 8th or 9th? I feel like this thing gets mixed up. Why do they have no? Okay, so yeah, we have PPI and core PPI. So those are high impact data points. So we will see how the market reacts. That's going to be at 8:30. Hopefully, Roblox holds its high. But other than that, I will update you guys further on anything that I am watching going into tomorrow. I'd like to add Netflix really quickly because it was bouncing and trying to hold this support, even though Big Stepper keeps trying to short it. I'm just kidding. All right. So if you guys want to in chronological order, or I guess that's making sense, but if you guys just want to one by one, just one ticker at a time, go ahead and throw your tickers in the live trading chat. I will go ahead and start going over these, whichever ones that you guys want me to chart. So I wonder if Unity will jump on the metaverse bandwagon. They have quite a few gambling platforms. Steven, what's up, man? Yeah, I am right now. I'm just sharing this. BNTX? Yeah, for sure. Oh, I see that. Ooh, guidance wasn't bad. That's pretty solid. I like that. I always love a good gap. So Actually, you know what I need to do really quickly before I get to it myself. I need to write this down. There's my sticky notes. All right. Sorry, I want to make sure that I'm writing these things down because there was a couple of tickers that I saw on After Hours that I wanted to potentially play. Snapchat and Twitter, both being some of those stocks as well, that I forgot to add to that watch list. So, um, okay. So BNTX, right off the bat, I love it. We have is the wait. So we had earnings. Is that correct? Are those your request? Nice. Yeah, I think that so just right off the bat, we already see there's a gap. But did they have pre-market. So they do have okay, so they have earnings. So you're probably not going to be able to take advantage of this gap unless we fall. But if we fall, that gap is probably the least of your worries. So yeah, could if you happen to stay in range or maybe equity in the morning, you could if the momentum's to the upside, you could potentially I would be really careful in pre-market, really careful, especially legging in or just full sizing. But you do have the gap to fill here potentially. Let's see here, and that's closes at 263. So yeah, you know what? I would say let's watch it tomorrow morning. But you have some targets that you could potentially keep in mind. So, you know, just going over, um, obviously that's going to be what's our most recent point of control. Okay, so our most recent point of control is way above us. So that will be a target if we do well. This would obviously be a target if we do well. There's also that gap has already been filled. You get a gap. Yo, that is the best. I love that. What time do I start stream in the morning? It can be as early as 7:30, but 8:30 is guaranteed to be the start time for the most part. So that's a good name, Mandingus. You want me to here? I change your name to Gap Filler if you want. You don't get the full. We can't rule. Everybody will forget who you are, so you have to keep the dingus. Or hold on, wait, hold on a second. No, 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 no. There we go. All right. So with BNTX, with earnings, guys, we can't get too overzealous trying to, we can place out targets. We know that we have a point of control all the way up at 350. If you do well, that's immediately where I would suspect you're going to see that move. You've already bounced at a major support right here, and you could see as low as $200 before it's all said and done. So, alrighty, we'll go over that one again. But if you guys have other requests, let's see here. We've got Activision, ATVI. Didn't they just have earnings? How did they do? They hit the dumpy. All right. So this is where I want to kind of go on to the weekly. Let's see where it could fall. Look at that big old cup and handle there. I don't know, man. This thing is dumped hard. Kind of look at the almost. I wonder if ATVI is going to start pulling off something similar to what it did before. Big high, chop, craziness, spill, cut, spill, We saw that chop here, but we lost it. Earnings has it back down below that weekly 200-day EMA. Now, if it's going to fall, it's now below that 200-day EMA. Don't the whole like golden cross shit, like, you know, like I get it that golden cross is great, but there's buying will occur underneath the 200-day EMA rather than the vice versa. Now that it's crossed it, it's doomed, right? That's for stocks that deserve to die, I guess, or like Nikola's and stuff. No offense, but you know, hopefully they make real hydrogen and not other gases. Yeah, so I mean, like, um, it's not for a well-established company to say like, okay, we've crossed the 200-day EMA, now we're going to completely plummet. But anyway, looking at it right now, kind of looking at it back here, you kind of have similar energy going into this. Now, you could see lower low. You did end up making a move to the downside off of the earnings move. And of course, this is the weekly time frame, so we don't quite know where we're going to move from here. But above you, right, and you've already rejected this point. It looks like you got a rejection right off of 68.75. The gap fill occurs here, and that gap's going to close at 77. I can't tell you how good it feels to have all my charts all cleaned up. It's the best. I love it. What? BB and Kettler channels only have a thing on a chart. I don't know if you guys knew you could do this, but you could do this. So it looks like the majority is in the call zone. Call zone. What language am I speaking? Let's see. What's the expiration? There we go. That's what I want to see. So call is long. Short. I see shorts. Mostly short expiration. Longest is seemingly out to December. And most calls are going all the way out to 100, 97.7. And these calls are for 2022, so January and stuff like that, December of next year. So that being said, you've kind of dropped down to, let's see where we at. Looks like 66.75. Let's go back and see where we're at in the grand scheme of things. All right, so you are at a major top of a major zone here. And the bottom of this zone is going to be at, and you've already wicked down to it. Interesting. Okay, so looking at, if you move any lower from here, below 66.65, you're going to end up making basically like a rounded top or an H pattern. Your best bet there is to hopefully get some type of reversal or bounce off of the same mark that you have here. If there's two marks, there's going to be 65.55 and then right here 64.55. Obviously 55 is a psychological number. You're always going to be looking for a significant bounce there. But after earnings, it may end up taking some time to kind of curl up. So if you do end up losing the level that you're currently sitting at right now and showing a lot of weakness, then I would potentially expect further downside, at least to the previous levels that you've already tapped off of. From there, it's kind of reacting and analyzing the price action at those supports. So if you end up seeing high volume, maybe even high flow or high conviction flow, then I would anticipate potentially going to fill that gap. And that gap will be a target. for retail and high frequency traders alike. So that's a gap, that's a target to fill. And most of the flow, as I said, is at least anything in the 70s and the 85s are no shorter than January, or no further than January. So anyway, what are the all right, so Ulta. Hmm. They have earnings? Not for a while. December. Hmm. It's a weird looking chart, dude. What is that big jerk down from? Do you know why that happened? I think the day I think today lower high. Do you think this is a dynamic resistance or in range? Okay. I like that you're back down at this 9. You got a nice reversal candle there. Look at this candle right there. That's awesome. So watch it above 3. Yeah. Uh for sure. I mean, even if you just go and test this zone up here, right? You're going to be testing the 403, 405. I like it. Yeah, I like it above. I mean, really, I would want to just kind of evaluate, see if you get good volume. Uh, you held really well today. You actually ended with kind of what looks to end up, what looks to be a flag. So 386. I don't know. If I was to take it, I would take it above 390. Starter position at least. You could still see one more leg down 385. So below this level, you've got 385 even that you could see a tap off of, maybe even 384.25. And then I don't know. I think this actually looks pretty good. Or just get off of Robin. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, I just took a bite of this kolache, so best stop. Cease to exist here. Don't know why. Yo, 7th at Prentice. That was wait. It's not that kind of kolache. It's a bastardized kolache. It's apple. It's an apple cinnamon kolache. Just tag Manny and say apple cinnamon and watch what he says. I like this one. I like Alta. I have alerts set on it. Yeah, it is pretty good. All right. And Malhar, you said Affirm. Whoa. Did that happen today? Oh my god, what a shakeout. Oh my god. That thing crushed 170. I remember I was like, yeah, 170 look good. The thing just jacked it up and then just dumped. That looks that yo, so you know what this reminds me of? Let me show you a chart. I'm gonna show you kind of what that reminds me of. Do y'all see the similarities there? See these big moves. Shorts are present. We got earnings on the 10th. I do not. All right. I'm sorry. Personally, this one looks like it's gonna hit the dumpy, but it's got mad gaps to fill at the downside. Man, I would kind of. I'm not gonna take a gamble on this one because, but I'm. Stop it! You don't. No, don't say that. Looks like hairbrush strokes. Hey, how's the game plan to get out of the straddle like on Roblox? That's a really good question. Sell the call at the open, right? We can either A, evaluate the volume at the open because we can go look at other movers. Personally, if you're in weeklies, if you are, probably yes. Okay. If you have more than one and you want to mess around with it, you should still probably take profit. It's probably best to just enter something new if we see more volume. The move that I see to the upside would have to be supported obviously by the market and would run divergent from it if it doesn't, because I don't expect really any super impressive movement from the market anytime soon. You can. So you can let the put ride, and oftentimes as it pulls back, right, it will open a gap. And people, retail, will pump those out of the money contracts as it starts to pull back. So you have an opportunity. I usually will hold them. I usually they're gonna be worthless. So they won't be worthless, but they will be down bad. But the thing is you would be down 90 something percent on your contracts, but the calls should be up well over 3, 4, 500%. I haven't put them in the option calculator, but that is the whole thing is you want to basically enter something where you are expecting a big move. So anyway, Malhar, this type of candle here does normally give you an indication of further downside, but going into earnings is where things get tricky. Now, from last earnings, right, we opened up and we still were holding a giant gap from Amazon, right? This gap uh, is all the way to $92. And since that gap, since the earnings gap, we have moved all the way to 170. So seeing even excuse me, I really apologize. Seeing a 25%, that just sounds so professional. Seeing a 25% retracement is not out of the question. And so I would say 150 if it does pull back is target that eyeball, and even as low as potentially 135. Those are marks in which I have moving averages as well as I don't want that gift. Patrick's always the best. But yeah, that's what I was suspecting here from my nose itches. Alrighty, so let's see here. Yeah, of course. Sorry, I can't give you a better, you know, an idea, but we can always look at the targets to the upside. If somehow they do even better and they fly to the moon, 180, 200 minimum, you know what I mean? So, um, oh yeah, I've got time. Yeah, throw those tickers out. I'm kind of losing them in the sauce, but it's okay. Um, So I mean, that's I don't know how heavy you entered, but I will say that the dip, right, it's rather suspicious because you literally dip down into your little demand and then you bounce immediately all the way back up to 160. So there is movement. And if you did buy at the end of the day, I don't know when you bought. uh, If you really bought, did you buy at the end? When did you buy? Like as it was going back up? More than likely, you'll see at least a hit one, maybe 163. I'll take. I'll watch it tomorrow. Just remind me. I'll set some alerts on it. But you could see it run back up, and stay in range. So maybe even 165. But that's a good dip. Almost at 258. Your time, Eastern time. That's Central time. Okay, end of the day. What? PayPal? Maybe. Because if you can pay with Venmo on Affirm, that's interesting. Um, yeah, that's really interesting. Not really sure. Well, hello there. Yeah, no, I could literally go and buy WD-40 right now, and I just haven't done it. Wrong with me. It's been months. I kind of like it. It's comforting. All right, so let's go take a look at Dash. That is the ugliest cup and handle if it is one. Yeah. Luckily, there's no gaps in the downside. That's nice. Mm, okay. I don't think you have too much further to go down. I'm just kind of basing this off the standard deviation channel. Um, it's not looking great, I have to say. And you are back down to your most recent point of close to your most recent point of control. That's going to be right around 190. So you're likely to maybe see 190 all the way, the whole number, or even 189. But regardless, yeah, you can see this level right here. You're getting close enough again. The ninth earnings is tomorrow. So that the downside, if I was looking for targets, because again, earnings is going to disrupt anything that I say. My first target would be 175 or dash to the downside. Not only is that a previous breakout zone demand, but also right where the 200-day EMA is at. So it's almost that kind of that middle ground. We have not looked super great, at least as far as I haven't heard any good news about Dash. But hopefully with Lyft and Uber Eats seeing an increase or doing better in that sector, maybe we could see the same. I'm not much of an analyst or at all if it comes to Uber or Lyft or anything like that. Uber's taken so long to generate a profit. It's insane. So DoorDash, in my opinion, it's not one that I like consider playing. I'm actually going to do something really quickly because I think I'm wrong. Hold on one second. Okay, so this is kind of where we see through the noise. I don't know if you've heard me say that before. But oftentimes you'll have channels, and those channels will get corrections. So we look for the area of most or the most respect. So I'm adjusting this channel right here. So anyway, in the meantime, maybe a little bit of a bounce tomorrow, but the targets to the downside, like I said, would probably include 185 and even 175 to the downside. To the upside, the top of the channel would have you around 217, which is incredible. But 217 is where I would anticipate seeing Dash. So just based off that standard deviation channel. All right. Beam. What do they do? What is this moving in sympathy of? This is battery charging, correct? I'm not really sure, Doran, what this is, but you are getting really close to this break. So, as you can see from previous moves here, you do tend to move really, really well. You got all of your EMAs pointing straight up. You've got great volume, but the only thing that is lying in your way is 2 days away, and that's earnings. That's going to have everything to do with everything, and nothing that I say will matter from here. Depending on obviously how you move going into earnings, volume, sentiment is all there. I think if I'm not mistaken, this is in the EV sector. The EV sector right now is seeing fuel cell, plug, um, Blink, all these other VLDR, which we played today, all moving to the upside. So um, I would suspect potential continuation into the $40 and $41 range on the beam. Looking at the volume and sentiment that it has currently. On earnings, you could see as high as 45. Looking at the zones above you, the first reasonable one is 43.50. Second one would be 45, and then 46. Right in this zone is kind of where I would eyeball seeing beam if it did pop up and do well on earnings. To the downside, probably a return to the point of control, which is going to be around $30 even. So, um, what did I say with no remorse? I forgot. V3. Beam engages in invention, design, manufacture, and sales solar powered products. It offers solar powered. I should have guessed by the Beam proprietary technology solution for electric vehicles, charging infrastructure, home advertising platforms, energy security, and disaster preparedness. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, VLDR is LiDAR. So I mean that's still in the same sector. So you'll see a tie to both solar and EV battery charging. So what happened? Uh, PPSI. I tell you what, it feels good not to have people asking me to charge Shib tonight with a gun to my head. It's a good feeling. No, this is the one that ran today. Speak, don't you dare. I'm just kidding. All right, so almost sounds like you're missing it. Maybe a little bit. Maybe I might hop on here. Um, so for starters, not entirely sure of what this company is. Man, this chart is ugly. Um, what they did, I think they did something with charging stations, right? That's what we saw. That there was a partnership, something like that. I can go check my Benzinga. Hold on. PPSI. Company analysis launch of its e-boost portfolio to mobile electric chargings and full range applications. Okay. So unfortunately, usually when you see things like this, they can lead to, now this is at 50% of this move. I'm gonna go to the 4 hour here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So normally when I see these type of candles, I'm expecting a pullback, and this is where I might even go and try and approach and see, okay, where's my most recently? It's usually a pump and dump, but I think I don't. So personally, I don't think that that's news. Like adding eBoost, like may not be the most profitable news. They still have left a massive gap to the downside. So seeing an engulfment, or even maybe even depending on how pre-market moves, like a dark cloud cover, anything around $8.30, a close there would probably signify potential further downside, with bears probably getting more and more aggressive below 775 to try and go fill that gap. And so that may not be suitable news or suitable enough news to hold this level, but the entire EV sector and charging sector is moving up. You do have Plug Power, which is hydrogen, but is still in that same general vicinity. And we can see potential sector movement from that. So obviously, ripping up over 200% for a day probably calls for a little bit of a pullback. And even if you did, you may not even fill the entirety of that gap. You still have a gap all the way down at $2.41. So I think earnings is going to pretty much give you everything that you need to know. Real quick, those of you on the Discord, I think we're going to be doing Zoom from now on. Well, we can still run it on Discord, but I gotta pay for this. Yeah, no wonder their stock is so fucking high. Jeez, 12 grand. If you're like, obviously for you, it's yeah, right? Because it calls on Zoom. I was like, damn, dude, Skype got expensive. You can do whatever you wanted on Skype. Yeah, I will do it on Discord and on Zoom. It'll be on both. Why not? All right. All right. So without just checked the chart too. It's been sideways for months. Yeah, it's squeezed heavy for a while on that TTM. Um, Discord is like a fancy meal at a restaurant. YouTube is a golden corral on the weekends. Hey, there's room for a golden corral. Are you asking for Nicola for real? Holy shit! Unity. Damn, that was the most peaceful thing I've said all day. Holy shit! Unity. All right. So let's go down to the 4 hour. Most penny stocks are usually stuck in a TTM squeeze. I haven't done enough penny stocks to see. So clean breakout on Unity. Personally, I haven't done enough research on this one. Maybe do you have earnings whisper? Oh no, not today. Not today. Um, that's not. Yeah, I'm looking at their earnings whisper. I'm just reading the last quarter. Um, all right. Well, you know what I'm about to say. We've got earnings tomorrow. So this is Unity's chance to shine. So on technicals, 167.50. This previous high, 170 is obvious. 170. And then right here at the previous high, which is 174, basically 175. From there, you could totally go and hit that high. You obviously, obviously, I don't know what just happened to my voice just there. Obviously could see the 180s. And depending on how earnings go, this is the spot for a cup and handle. So it's it all has everything to do with earnings. So, I don't want to again, I don't want to. Well, Jesus, I've never heard that kind of fire truck word. I used to be a volunteer firefighter. I never heard that. Yeah, I would even say, your most dynamic. Oh yeah, look at that. 208 EMA aligning right up with that. So, I would say you're pretty far away from your support. So if you don't do well on earnings, it could send you into a downtrend, maybe even going into next year or something like that. But again, I can't. No, I'm not saying that to be like there's not much I can do, especially after a stock breaks out and it's heading up. The only thing you do is look forward 167.50, looking at the previous rejection levels, 170. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on that one. And really, I would like to just see how they do on earnings before I make another assessment. So, hey, Sandra, on YouTube, did you want to leave a request right here in the chat? I thought the Unity player died. I have no idea what Unity is, to be honest with you. I games and Trevor Milton poster. You know what? If one of you guys sent me a Trevor Milton poster, I would also request a darts. Darts would be awesome. Also, really good content. So, you know what? Where's my phone? I'm gonna order. Where can I find? Um, yeah, hold on, real quick, before I do this. If you're on live with me right now and you have questions about anything, if you don't want people to hear your questions, I'm gonna go ahead and slide up and take a look at my DMs. Please drop your request, talk to me. So, oh God, I'm gonna refuse this question. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody but you. Check your phone. Does that look? Oh my God! Don't see. I'm looking. I don't see anything. Do you like that voice message I sent you? Alrighty. So anybody on here? Did I miss anything before Unity? I think I got Unity. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's go and look at Alcoa. So I was actually really interested in playing Alcoa today. Yeah, Lucid's likely going to fill the rest of its gap. You know what? It's okay. I didn't get it. You don't have to send it. We'll just leave it at that. So, small gap, and it's really, really funny because guess where Alacola placed itself? Um, it basically placed itself right there, the body of the candle, right at 49.20, and then right here at 48.72. If I'm not mistaken, X, all metals popped up because of the infrastructure bill and therefore led to a pullback on the gap. But I will say that everything from steel, now steel, steel is kind of sporadic. It's kind of hard to wrangle up, but everything everything is looking good. Looking for $55 on Alcoa. All right, so what are your feelings right now? Obviously, we've made a pop off of the support, so I don't see any reason why we couldn't see $60 on Alcoa. If today, especially, or tomorrow, excuse me, we can get above $50. Above $50 is the most obvious target, 52. And then I would go to the 4 hour here to double check that. So hold on one second. Yeah, so 5150 actually is a formidable level as well. It's like 54 a little bit, and obviously 55. So yeah, I personally think that I don't like the fact that we have this like potential head on a what could be eventual head and shoulders, but um are you thinking triple bottom? So I think just getting above $52. Yeah, 52, above 52, I think we'd be all in the clear. And you can see the volume profile shows the most, and you can see it on the chart. You don't even need to look at the volume profile. Dead center right in the middle of that. It's the point of control, 48.75. We planted ourselves up against that. All the EMAs nice and tight, curled up into each other. The TTM squeeze could potentially continue to roll over tomorrow. So I'd probably use either this 49.40 with volume and obviously the Dow infrastructure juicing for a push up to 50. If we can close above there, bullish candle close, then we could add above $52. So yeah, I like it. I'll set a couple of alerts on it. And in fact, what I'm going to do here is go down to futures having a paper cut right now. Not surprised. We've been running up. We get what we deserve. So the one thing that I'm going to say here is that usually when Alcoa, now it squeezed harder here than it has before, but usually the momentum indicator kicks up faster. And since earnings, you pumped and you fell back really hard. So maybe even just a cut potentially. So don't expect an immediate pop up there unless we see strength in the metals. We'll won't spy for down. Will Musk sell his Tesla share and pull SPY down? Uh, I don't think that would be what pulls it down. No, personally. To me, I find it crazy that he even asked. Personally, I find it bizarre. Because he was going to do it anyway. Yeah, he's a Hurricane Durgan. So, all right, let's look at Tesla. All right, so I personally think that we pop up and make a head and shoulders tomorrow, complete reversal. Come here. So here's what I think. Boop, boop. No, not that bad, but you know, maybe something like this. This is getting worse, and then I personally think 1100. And there's a bunch of people who are calling the fib retracement, so 1095, $5 difference, but that's my thoughts on it. Same with the world hunger thing. Yeah, but have they responded? Oops. Does Affirm look like an earnings play? I don't know if I don't know. Hold on a second. Is Georgie on? Just gonna no, just kidding. um, I personally think that we will see a move from Affirm personally, but I would keep it cheap, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Um, so Tesla has a gap to fill. I would watch Tesla above 1165. Go down to the hourly here. Go down to the hourly here. So we'll see what happens if we gap down. If we gap down, we're going to go up and we're going to go fill that gap. So we could see a wick down here all the way back down to 1132. So watch for a pullback. Watch for that 1130 bounce. Maybe even 1125. So uh, uh um now let me say something before I go off and say immediately. I'm looking at the way that we moved here. We could end up seeing some gnarly type of consolidation pattern. Oh, whoops, hold on. Getting a little bit crazy. You should let your Doge sleep on you. 5 EMA. Yeah, I just see 1100 first, but I looked. Hold on a second. Yeah, 1100 is obvious. I would. That's ballsy, but I'd take it. My 50 EMA is at 1050. Sleep with dogs, wake up with fleas. All right, let's look at Blink. So this one going into earnings, Blink is rough because should have we've been waiting for this one to rip forever. You know, like I've been watching this one. It's had some incredible moves. It reacts well to news. You know, so as far as like, you know, earnings play, it's up there with, you know, some of the good ones. But looking at how extended it is, and if you see, we actually look as if we are at that dynamic resistance with a rejection here off of the top of 4075, which is dead center in the middle of this zone right here. And then we finished candle close almost right below it. So personally, with the small gap here, this could end up being the top on Blink. I think stocks like loose or well, I mean, yeah, you could even say Lucid. Like Lucid is really close to if it really close, if you think about it, really close to filling its gap. Uh, you know, it's worth watching tomorrow, you know, for that potential gap fill. But as the EV sector runs, we also have Neo running. So things like Blink could that sentiment could have it at least stay up in that range, or even potentially maybe bouncing up and, you know, forming some type of consolidation here. But it does look pretty gassed out. And as close as it is to earnings, I don't know how much more of a move it's going to make. So you have basically tomorrow is the 9th. So you have 2 days until earnings comes to basically, and I personally don't see any gaps. So there's no like really suitable like long distance target you could potentially aim for. And that's just my opinion though. On this one, it's relatively hard chart to read. So if I missed your ticker, I didn't ignore it. I just missed it. I'm covering Blink right now. So, sorry, I just saw. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that one. But all right. Let's see. Do I have any requests on? Ouch. Um. Oh, sorry, I skipped it. It's not even the right one. Damn it. Um. Trader John DeJere says he added to positions in Blink and ChargePoint. I was at 1233. Shares of EV charging companies are trading higher after the infrastructure bill, which means 7.5 in funding to create nationwide network of EV charging stations. So I tell you what, things like Blink, by the way, um, it's the third time it's at resistance. So if it's gonna break, it's gonna do it now. Yeah, I got it. Hold on a second. No, PLTR I have not. I'm gonna look at Merck here. So Merck, big giant gap. The COVID pill is still in play. I think they're still waiting for emergency authorization from the RFDA. So a big giant move on Merck. See. Um, Merck reports pending acquisition of Acceleron Pharma cleared by competitive. So they could be going through an acquisition. So that's um, one thing to be careful of. Okay. So on this one, most recent point of control is currently where you're at now. You bounced off of. Hmm. All right, so it looks like if you can get into the $83 range, probably above 83 and into the 84, that's where things are going to look a little bit better from Merck. But I will say news is going to be needed, and that's probably a guarantee. Unless the sector in general is ripping, I would definitely see. Um, yeah, that's just personally me. So I think that it needs some type of catalyst, you know. Why do I choose a out of the money call rather than in the money option? Um, there's a couple different reasons. Personally, obviously, the you're gonna have a far lower premium, uh, and just an option's going to gain intrinsic value as it goes into the money. So that's what you're looking to benefit off of. You also have the Greeks that are going to help you as well. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for when, I'm choosing an out of the money option. And at the same time, a lot of people will go with an in the money option for the very same reason. Oftentimes you will experience less theta. You do experience more theta decay due to being out of the money. So staying in the money with the anticipation of further upside not only gives you the option to exercise your options at any point, obviously because they are in the money, they have intrinsic value. You can do that. Um, but yeah. Um, sorry, someone just DM me right there. But anyway, yeah. So when you're in the money, you're able to, you're not going to see as much theta decay. You're not going to see the options afflict you as much while, benefiting from the upside. But at the same time, the value of an option that's out of the money is going to be far less. But as things like IV, right, which a lot of people are going to be buying out of the money options, when the volume and the movement and volatility of the stock is up, therefore making the out of the money options lucrative in that manner. So uh, that's just my thoughts on it. So of course. Um, alrighty. So what are you shushing me? Peyton, you want to come over here and teach him? Huh? Come over and tell these people about stocks. Tell them about, give them a financial rundown on Pinterest. Um, let's see here. PLTR. Oop, if my fingers worked. Hey, they got earnings in the morning. So man, the stock looks like hot garbage, but that's good. We like garbage sometimes. We buy garbage, and in that case, that's my best guess. All right. Now that's just a dynamic resistance. Or now again, I'm gonna go repeat myself. I know you're just hopping in. If your stock has option or God, if your stock is has earnings coming up, then the best thing that you can do is set targets if you're looking at playing it. All right, so that's the best I can offer you on that. Now, selecting targets, we have an obvious gap. PLTR is a gap to 30.45. Can you take a position here with equity or an out of the money leap? Absolutely, because now you have a target, right? You have a target. We know that inevitably gaps will get filled, and we're going into earnings, that is a target to fill to the upside. Now, there's a bunch of different potentials here. We could end up seeing a PLTR cup and handle. Me personally, I'm deeply invested in PLTR. I think even the fact that they, are prepping for one of those type of quote unquote black swan events, kind of just makes them more of an attractive buy. Who doesn't want to invest in Big Brother? So, um, yeah. So looking at it at the moment, you made a decent move to the upside, but you only finished back down at resistance. So looking at it, you've just been sitting flat in this range for so long that it's almost inevitable, I think, that there's some impending move here for PLTR. So they just continue to stack on contract after contract after contract with the government, et cetera, et cetera. So um, I personally think that $30 is a great target to the upside. So $30. I'm actually gonna write that down because that's a leap that might end up being relatively attractive. Maybe pumped with IB though. So then I guess it's a pre-market, right? If I should I watch it right now? Oh God. Oh dude. If I do it, it's gonna everybody's gonna watch it. I'm just kidding. I can move it over here. Not maybe you are doing great, man. Give yourself some credit, guys. Confidence has a lot to do with this. If you're right, you're right. If you see the setup, you find the levels, give yourself some credit. Confidence is always only built, and I said that I know it's a little off topic, but like, those of you, and I've had people message me, let me know that they're struggling or they haven't made any gains or they've stayed flat or they've, and this has been over the last, month or so, especially with the craziness in the market. And the first question that I always have is, like, what's your strategy? What are you doing? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your targets? Right? What are your goals? And then in anything, not just the stock market, in life, when you set goals, you work towards those goals, but you do those little things that build your confidence because you're learning, right? Even just learning. So just like you said there, like you learned something, your chart matches mine. So, definitely give yourself credit, man. That's awesome. Like, and that's what ends up making these plays. So if you see it and I see it, more than likely other people see it, which means the more people that see it, the more people who are going to feel the conviction that this gap will fail. I don't know what's happened to my voice, but that's essentially my thoughts there. I don't know, Peyton. No, I just was in my mind here. Is that SHIB? Oh, that's Bitcoin. Got you. That's not bad. That looks really good. Yeah, I like that, man. And I also too, I personally think that we're gonna see a pullback on crypto. It's not much longer. Big green dingus though. Who wants a big green dingus t-shirt? Thoughts on Moderna? Oh my god. That one's got a big ass gap. All right. Well, obviously the gap, and I'm going to say it again, 50% of the gap. So 50% of the gap is going to be a little bit past 260. So I would watch 260. It's really crazy because Moderna actually has a gap. So actually, check this out. 261, there's a gap under above. Wow. So you have a double gap. So watch 260. Okay. Then from there, you would hit 271, which is the 200-day EMA and the majority of that gap fill. So it looks pretty good. You got the candle right there. Nice bounce, big bounce. That takes a lot of cash to get that to get that kind of move. 211 all the way back up to 236. Now pushing 245. Yes, absolutely looks really good. It's got good volume. See a little weakness there at 245. So maybe a little bit of a pullback. Now, before I go too far, check it out. So this is why we do multiple time frame analysis. So it's a bear flag. That would be a bear flag. Now, this doesn't mean anything if this pops up. All patterns can be blown. All patterns can be blown. I'm just going to repeat that because I don't think there's a lot of people think if because it's in a pattern, it's going to do that thing. Like, nah, so. Being red for so many months has taught me a lot. I do trade IPOs. Cat, yeah, that's the next one. Wait, Doran, did I Peyton get on live and chart USDT for us? Mike Alley on that one. Yeah, sure. Predictions have been you guys do remember that she said that Square was going to go down while I was bullish. So at this point, she has a better rate and success rate than I do. She's 100%. I know. She told me yeah, she said Roblox was going to go up. She retracted her statement twice, but she eventually came back down to the same target price. So I see a little bit of a triangle forming here on charge point. Unfortunately, there's a gap. This goes for all EVs. Okay, infrastructure bill should be great. We don't know if that's going to hit immediately. Who's going to get benefit from that the most? Et cetera, et cetera. So personally, hourly consolidation pattern here. You ended with a doji, which is better than anything, but oftentimes found at the top of a pattern can end up being signs of potential reversals. But at the same time, you did dip all the way to $26 and then pull yourself back up to $27.50. So you might see the potential target above you. And personally, let me do something real quick. I know a lot of you guys use other extensions, but I'm going to check this one out. Or use Fibonacci and stuff like that. But um, 28, 25. So personally, I would leave it like this. Looking at the daily above 28.25, I would look at this next R2. That's 29.83, basically $30. It's giving you room to break $30 and fall back onto 28. Below this wick, which is going to be 26.58, then you have a gap fill. And I would just leave it at that. That's as simple as it gets. Um, so that's my take on it right now. And I think after breaking so violently, you could even call it that big pop off, it would probably be best for it to pull back a little bit. Ooh, what you said, Sam, is very true. And one of the reasons why, even if you have 25K or 30K, maybe you don't need that in your trading account. Maybe you don't need anything but $500, and maybe you need to sit and figure out how to make $500 turn into 10 grand. I don't know if Dim is on here, but one thing that she told me is that she used to trade with a ton, right? And then her performance got way better because it was actually like one of those things where she had a great day, insane day, like crazy good. Like totally could have made like, the front of the Wall Street bets, like best day ever, right? That ended up being her work, and I hope she wouldn't mind. But that ended up being a downfall for her and for me too. For situations where I've made these tremendous gains to the upside, I had to lose. And I said this a while ago when I first got into the stock market, that oftentimes, because this is such a psychological game, it does influence us and urge us to be better, not to be greedy, like to practice. Because we're tempting ourselves, we're poking ourselves, prodding ourselves, and learning how to grow from it. And so when you're doing that, using less is more. You know what I mean? So if you have more, right, that's great, but it's not going to help you just because you have it. You need to figure out a strategy, even if that means one. If you can do it with one contract, you can do it with 20. So get good with one, right? Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, we're humans. Do you like to keep? Yes, I do keep my equity in a separate account. Yeah, I do. You can do that with the same options or same equity. 200 and set a goal by 1K by the end of the week. All right, I'll do it with you. When do we start? The less you do, the more you do. That that is beautiful. So, something to take away from this tonight is if you're struggling, oftentimes we got to settle down. Took my $200 account to $800, sold my calls early this morning. Trick. Oh, nice. Jughead. Great. Yeah. So, and you know what the best thing about that is, though, is if you can turn $200 into $800, go back again, right? Practice it again. We like in any game, right? You know, training wise, whatever the case may be, if you make a big leap or you make a big play, it's not always like the most consistent thing that you do. Oftentimes it's the inspiration to keep doing that thing, but you still have to practice. You still have to keep trying. Um, and so, with all that being said, like oftentimes it's not what's out here or what's on the chart, but it's oftentimes what's going on in our own head or how we're reacting. If you're using the stock market to survive, that was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done. Like hardest thing that I've ever done. And I've done a lot of mentally, it was just exhausting because like you're trying to pay yourself, you're trying to and people who quit their jobs to trade, I tell people like the stock market is a tool. We can build wealth while still maintaining our daily lives until right until because when you put too much pressure, people to put too much pressure on themselves in the beginning, and there's no set rate. Everybody's different. There's people who can take off in 5 months and there's people who might take a year, and it's all and it just goes back to like the fact that schools, everybody has their own pace, their own learning, and it's something you can take into your own personal life too. So um but anyway, back to charting. Real quick on cat. So you guys know I don't like gaps. Personally, I would kind of like to see the gap potentially get filled, but it looks like buyers were a little bit. And I actually saw this yesterday or today. Towards the close, I was kind of interested in what cat was going to do because we saw this significant pullback, and it almost looks like it's making like a again another bear flag. Why do gaps get filled? Because they become targets. Because the price opens normally, right? It depends on the gap, but normally they become targets. So for the same reason why you see people post about like going all in on a gap play, right? Is because gaps, high frequency traders, retail trade, everybody chases or pushes stocks into gaps, and that's just something that like immediately, if you have an hourly gap, if you gap down in the morning, normally people immediately switch their mind to bullish because you're buying a dip, but you're also fueled by the fact that that gap is inevitably going to get filled. So you can gap up and completely not have a demand or supply zone. But that is a part of it. You can gap up. Um, you can gap up in, like, for example, uh, Roblox or something like that that is relatively new. You can move down and gap up to a completely different price without having any zone or anything, period. Now that may end up being establishing a future supply or demand zone, but oftentimes it's fueled by some type of catalyst and then driven by buyers or sellers. Sellers will attack the gap. That's why you guys hear me on penny stocks. I'll say, okay, I see a gap, like we just gapped up. Like, the more than likely, sellers are going to attack that gap. It's the same. We all have to agree. There is a mutual agreement, right? That it's all unspoken agreement. That like these things are going to happen. So look at how supply and demand works out. Supply and demand is the best. There you go. Yeah. Normally, you see some type of resistance when you go up to gaps. Personally, I think that you can set a mark above 215.25. That's where I'd like to see a push back up. The Dow, everything. Now, in this case, because you had that big shock, big pullback there, if you do end up moving anywhere, I would say, let's say right here off these wicks, so 212.75. More than likely, that gap's going to get filled. So that gap is a potential target with a pullback on the Dow. All right, what am I missing? I see you said Chewy. So it's like I said, it's a little bit of both. I gaps can happen anywhere. They can happen at all-time highs, right? And eventually establish those zones. But mostly they become more attractive and are fueled. The closer black, you know what gaps are? Black holes. Because the closer you get to them, the more likely you're going to get sucked in. That was a good metaphor. Gaps are black holes. Manny's gonna be like, "What?" I send all Manny's all of my quotes. He judges me. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. there is a bit of intuition that has that. There's a lot of intuition, but the intuition is fueled by time and experience. So I tell myself there's no vision. What else do we got? I feel like I missed something. Neil Tyson to Potter stocks. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Can I look at anything else for you? Trader builds $5 billion position after realizing he wasn't using test ropes. What? Oh my god. I love it. Selling them some houses tomorrow. Damn, you just got those like in your pocket? Just hanging around? Got some houses? So casual. Are you a realtor? Houses on deck. 2 for 1. All right, guys. Can I take it? Disney's moving like a hot dog water. Oh, dog water. I put the hot in there. Imagine blowing a $5 billion account. Yeah, I would probably only to make it out. That's nuts. Wait, last question. What about Piton? Um, I only know one person who rides a Piton, so that's my fundamental analysis on that. Not cheap. I'll take a look at it. Disney moving like hot dog water. Moved really good. Looks like he's gonna pull back now though. It's ugly. Do you keep that screenshot, dude? Is that in your phone? It's the only icon on your TV. Of course, not a problem. Have a great night, Cam. Can you undig it? Nice. Um, alrighty, y'all. Let's see. Piton, that's right. So we'll look at Piton really quick. First of all, Disney needs 2 levels, 177.25, and you might take another trip up into this range here, but this looks like the start of some type of triangle or consolidation. Level here and level here. So watch for Disney below here and move to there. So Piton. No problem. Good night, Doran. I don't know. Personally, I don't think this thing's done bleeding. As you can see, you actually gapped down twice. That that's fucked up. That's messed up. This thing needs milk. That's all I know. That's all I can say. You've lost. You're gonna lose 50. I think inevitably this is gonna go back down to $40 with the current momentum that it has. Uh, yeah, you're gapping down. So, but anyway, all right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. See you, YouTube. We'll do. You guys.